How you doing, everybody? I'm back. Tony here. Hope you guys are all well. I know this time of year is hard for people. It's kind of like the time of year when people get winter depression. And you know, I myself am not immune to occasional mood swings, and you know, times can be difficult for some of us. Anyway, my purpose in this video is to direct your attention away from what we go on to see as our daily reality. Not to pull any wool over anyone's eyes, but kind of the reverse, to enlighten you guys a little bit. The first thing that I want to say is things are not always the way they appear to be to us. I believe that we are all more connected than we think we are. And because of that, the world outside of us seems like at times it's working against us. Now, the first thing that I'm going to mention is everything that you see, everything that seems like it's outside of you. Of course, you know, and this is pretty much common knowledge now, that these things are interpreted by your brain inside of your mind. So although it seems like what you see is outside of you, everything that you experience is actually taking place inside of your mind. So when you look out at the world, in a way, you're looking at yourself. You're looking at what's inside your head. And, you know, these little subtle hidden secrets about life make us feel detached, or like we're foreign to Earth, and you know, the Earth is kind of hostile, works against us. The universe is not a part of us, but we are all a part of the universe. Let's say, for instance, you were God. Let's say you were God, and what you were doing was playing, I guess. And you were creating realities, different circumstances, different scenarios, and you know, creating all these millions and billions of things, and experiencing them, and living all, I guess you could say, fantasies out. And eventually these things would need to be enhanced so that you can still get that same feeling from the excitement. And so eventually you would move on to more complicated and more dangerous experiences. And over time, even those experiences will seem normal, and they may appear mundane. And so you may seek some sort of reality out of the experience, something that makes it feel more authentic. And so you start to do things at random. And then, although these things are being done at random, if you know that it's you, is it really random? Is it surprising if you know that you're doing them? So then you may want to go on to hiding yourself, so that when these things appear to you, you don't know that they're you. And as time goes on, as you want things to be more real, the more real that they are will only be, it will be determined by how much emotion you can feel from it. So I believe things will turn from being exciting into kind of the things that we do every day in our life, the normal things, regular relationships, experiences, spending time with people, talking, telling stories, and things will eventually calm down to the way they are now. And I imagine that we will all end up in the same place that we are right now. I end up here making this video, and you end up where you are watching it. Now, I tell this story like this because this is the way it was explained to me, and this is my idea of what I believe we are. We are the result of us being hidden from ourselves. And so throughout every day, we seek to find that other inside of us. We try to complete ourselves, and we look to find out who we are. I believe we are what you see. But what you see is not really what's there. If you look at something and it's too close for you to see the outside of it, you can't tell what that thing is. You have to see something's outline, its borders, its limits to know what it is. I can't tell you what I'm doing by only mentioning the thing that I'm doing, because it makes no sense. Everything is in relation to what's being done. Like me talking. I can only be talking if there's someone to hear me. And that may not sound like it's true, but think of the old saying that people say: if a tree falls in the forest and there's no one to hear it, does it really make a sound? And you may think, of course it does, because just because I'm not there to hear it, if the tree falls, the sound is still made. I'm just not hearing it. But take a second and think of what sound actually is. What sound is just a vibration that travels through the air. The same way light are just waves and particles that travel through the air, photons. And what is light without an eye to see it? If there were no eyes in the universe, light would not exist, because light only exists in relation to the eye that sees it. Without that, there is no light. And the same thing with sound. If a tree falls and there are no ears to hear it, all there is vibrations that go through the air. That's it. Until they reach your eardrum and create a sound. When you touch something, no matter what you're touching, you think that it's hard when you touch it before you're actually touching it. It's impossible. It's only hard in relation to the softness of your hand. So all these things that we see and we count it as being something other than us, we evoke these things out of the universe. We evoke light, we evoke touch, sense. You know, all these things are things that we are actually participating in. These are not things that are happening and we're just some feeble, unparticipating party. We are all involved in this thing that happens in life. Now, think of a solid object, the most solid object you could think of. And to the naked eye, of course, you know, the solid object seems to not be moving. And the word you use to describe a solid object would be describing the object as a thing and not as something that's happening. The problem here is that when you see something like a chair, and you say chair, and in your mind, you have an image of a chair, something that's solid, it doesn't move, it's not doing anything. But when you look into that chair under a microscope, you will see that there's millions of atoms that are constantly active. So a chair is less a chair than it is a chairing. It's a chairing of atoms. A tree is a treeing of atoms. A person is a personing of cells and atoms. We are all actions. The universe is something that happens. It's an occurrence, an activity that's been going on for as long as we could look back to see, and longer than that. And these things that are happening are not seen that way because of the way we're taught to see them. Now, the purpose of me bringing all this up is that in our daily life, these depressed spells that we get, this anxious feeling, and these feelings of loneliness and sadness, and as we get older and we become more solidified in who we are, we start to lose our ability to see that life is not only what we see it as. Children know this. Kids are less attached, kids have these concepts that we have less ingrained in their minds, and so they seem to be happier. But rest assured, if we do not fix the way we see it, we can't teach our kids to see it any differently. We can't help anyone else. We think sometimes that we're helping people, but because of how we're broken, we don't really help anyone. America goes out and we fight these great wars because we think that these people need us to tell them what they're doing wrong. We need to tell people how to live, and that's what America does. And it goes and we go out and we think we're fixing stuff. We're fighting the war on drugs, and there are countries that don't fight the war on drugs, and the amount of people using drugs in those countries is the same as the amount over here. And now, once you create something to deal with a problem, and there are people who depend on that problem to be there, when the problem no longer is a problem because it's actually a solution to the people who need jobs, who are working doing those things. Like, what would vice do without prostitutes? What would narcotics do without drugs? These things are just as bad as the bad thing itself, because now it's making an economy off of it. It's making people who are gonna fight just as hard to keep their job. And so my point in all this is that every day, we kind of go and we look for something that's already there. It's already in our everyday life. Do you know, as far as you can experience anything, like as far as your experience can go, like when you look out into the stars at night and your attention goes to the furthest star you can see, that star is being projected somewhere inside of you. You cannot see it without it being calculated somewhere in your brain. That star doesn't exist out there. Not to us, it doesn't. We only have the information that tells us it's out there. But that information plays where? In our minds. And what are our minds? Let's think about this. What are our thoughts? How do we see things when we think of it and we experience it? There you go. Now, all of these things that we experience, all of these things that we think we know, we don't really know anything, because all we have is our thoughts, our memories, and we have other people's thoughts and their memories, what they've written down. What is a word? When you write down a word is a sound, it's a noise, it's not really anything but a pointer that points to one of your memories. And once a pointer points to your memories, it's kind of defining something that someone's explained to you by using your own experiences. So no matter what somebody explains to you, they're not telling you anything new. They're just using words to fish around in your head and bring your own experiences out so that they can use your experiences to try to convey to you what they experience. And the reason why all this is dysfunctional is because as long as someone starts as long as someone is experiencing their world through their thoughts instead of through their experiences, eventually they have no more experiences to think of. All they have are thoughts of experiences. So the more you do that, the further away you get from reality, the further away you get from actually experiencing it. Eventually you have thoughts of experiences. All your experiences are you experiencing thinking of your experiences, and it makes no sense. And I have I have my idea of where I plan for my teachings to go when I teach people how to overcome their self, or to know thyself, to become more centered in their being, and less in, you know, their human side. And before I just jump over that, I say that because I believe a human being are, you know, we are all two parts, just like everything else. Everything has its opposite side, like, and we are human and we are beings. And we have a being side, we have a human side, and I believe there should be a certain amount of balance, and when it's off balance, things can go haywire. And I want to be able to bring as many people as I can to being, you know, an even combination of the both. And for years and years, there were teachers who, you know, like any good teacher, you know, he tells you he has nothing to teach. He has nothing to show you, because you are already who you need to be. And that is the truth. But I can't just tell you that. If you think that you're going to be happy, and I know that the happiness is already inside you, I cannot just say to you, don't be upset, be happy, don't be sad, don't be anxious, just be happy. I can't say that to you. It's impossible, because until you actually know that you have the power, you're just saying you do. And as long as you don't actually know it, you can't actually do anything. And the craziest part is that there's nothing that you can do. And all I can do is show you guys that the only reason that you think there is something that you should be doing is because you don't see things correctly. You don't see what's actually there. We're not experiencing the universe the way it's supposed to be experienced. The magic is gone. It's cut out of our lives. And my job, I feel like my goal, like my given task that I feel deep inside myself, like when I go as deep as I can, is to show people how the world really and truly exists. And I'm not trying to change you in any way. I'm not trying to make you any different. All I'm trying to do is push you closer to being yourself, closer to feeling yourself more. To not just every time someone speaks to you giving out these automatic robotic responses that you created over time, to be more in your life, to experience. There was a great teacher who I love, and he used to say, his name was Jiddu Krishnamurti, and he used to say, you have to attend life. And although it can get a lot more complicated than that, I believe that is one of the most important things, is that you are actually attending. We most of the time when we think we're here, we're not. When we're eating food, we're thinking about other things, so we're not actually tasting the food. There was a great sensei a great master who said to one of his students, said, "My master can walk on water. What can your master do?" And oh, I said that wrong. There was a student who was talking to another student, and he said, "My master can walk on water. What can your master do?" And that student, he replied by saying, "When he drinks, he's drinking. When he does this, he does this." And as subtle as it is, that's implying that he attends what he does. When he drinks, that's all that he's doing. And although it may not seem like it, that's being able to drink water, and only drink water while you're drinking it, and not thinking of anything else, not trying to be anywhere else, not trying to get away. You ever think why it hurts so much to wait in line, even though you're not doing nothing but standing there and breathing? Think about this. Our thoughts have run rampant, and I'm giving you guys the keys to unlock the chains and free yourself. I'll be back with another video as soon as I could, and this video is a little lengthy, and my purpose is that I feel like, you know, you guys deserve a little bit more content, and I have a lot for you guys, so I will be making longer videos so that there is more on here for you guys. And, you know, especially if I'm only doing 1 or 2 videos a week, I want you guys to be able to take what I give you in each video and carry that with you throughout the week to improve your life as much as possible, as much as you could. And with that, that's the end of this video. I'll see you guys later. Don't forget to subscribe, and, you know, watch out for my videos, because I will be putting as much in there as I could to help you as much as possible. So, you know, if I don't get around to something that helps you right now, then, you know, watch out for the next video, because I will be trying to find things, you know, make sure it's diverse and I'm not just hitting on one topic. And that's it for this one. I'll see you guys later.
Yeah, but you'll be fine. It'll all be fine. It's just in your mind. Yeah.